100 days in a locked room. There are no doors, no windows, and there is no way to escape. Here, the walls are white, and there is only one red carpet and a speaker through which my hero will hear the tasks. The rules of the game: you cannot leave the room. Essentially, there is nowhere to go. The budget of the game is zero. The most important rule is to complete the tasks to survive in this game. The prize is $100,000 if, of course, she survives. Meet our heroine. Her name is Zinaida, Zinochka, Zinulia. Call her what you want, but in the near future, she will suffer. So, the game begins.
Zinaida, for the first week, you must take care of yourself. There is a phone in your pocket. That is the only thing you...
What the hell? At that moment, Zinaida was frightened. How would she survive a week without money and the ability to get out? There isn't even a window to ask passers-by for help. And just now, the neighbors came to introduce themselves, but apparently not this time. She is already, in fact, talking to the wall in the room. Perhaps she prefers to think aloud and contemplate about how to survive. She dances and feels quite happy. The natural need is already making itself known, but there is no toilet here, so Zinaida decides to use a corner and takes care of her dirty business. She is very upset and starts to feel hungry, but Zinaida has no idea what to do next and tries to find something on her phone, as the voice told her that it was the only thing that could help her. She tried to get a job, hoping to take a day off at their expense. She was given a 2-day leave of absence from work, and during these 2 days the money will come to her. She still needs to survive this time. The waiting was very torturous. She wanted to eat, use the toilet, and sleep. She dreamed that those damn 2 days would pass quickly so that the money would come, and she could buy herself some essentials. She screamed, "Let me out! I've changed my mind. I want to go home." Finally, they paid the vacation money, $416 for 2 days. I need to buy a refrigerator right away so I don't starve. A small one like this will be just right. And we will buy garden beds so that the money does not run out. On the contrary, we will invest in the plants.
Wonderful, amazing, truly genius.
The plants are slowly growing, but I still feel like sleeping all the time and need to use the toilet. I need to go back to work, but this profession has the option to work from home. That's very good. Unfortunately, Zinaida doesn't have a treadmill to complete the tasks for work, but I hope it will be enough anyway. All right, that will absolutely do. Zinaida does not get downhearted and flirts with herself. Elicanto, schmalicanto. The voices inside her speak the language of love, a fairy tale fool. Due to her bad mood, Zinaida cannot sell the plants. And because of the lack of a gym and an unfinished task, she does not receive her salary. So, she decides to sell the beds and plants and buy a pair for boxing. With the remaining money, Zinaida can buy a bed. Finally, Zinaida can sleep in a bed, eat, and even box with a punching bag. It not only brings her money from work, but also lifts her spirits and motivates her to do something. Sometimes, of course, she still enjoys dancing and chatting with herself. Zinochka has grown too wild. She needs to shave. Although her fur may keep her warm in this unheated room, after receiving her salary, she can finally afford a bath. Let it be a rather shabby one, but at least she will be clean. And she also buys a bush. Yes, a bush. And she will place it in this room. But what to do if she doesn't have enough for a toilet? She won't soil her pants. She can relax in the bath, pee in the bushes, and sleep with a clear conscience.
I read all kinds of books. I am tired. You survived a week. Next week there will be a challenge. For every step taken, you belong to God. Yes to God. No. For every belonging, I will climb up.
Zina has unclear thoughts in her head. What is the task and when will it begin? But she simply continued to go about her business. The electricity was turned off due to unpaid bills.
Your need for sleep is at 0. We are beginning the task. You need to try the coffin for 24 hours. The lid of the coffin closes. It will start from here.
While she was in the coffin, she received a promotion at work. Hours in the coffin have passed. It was difficult. By the end, Xena really wanted to use the bathroom and eat, and now she can do that. As a well-deserved reward, instead of a coffin and her previous bed, she receives a comfortable double bed like this. Now she feels a bit more comfortable. Suddenly the lights turned on, and Xena, as usual, went to take a bath.
The next task is to shave yourself with a razor. Just remove them from your body for me. I will give you a mirror for the task.
Xena did not want to shave with a razor, as she is a girl, and her hair means a lot to her. But she came here for the prize. She needs the money. Therefore, overcoming her reluctance, she goes through with it. Thinking about being stuck here for a long time and that by the end of the challenge her hair would at least grow back a little, after such a short haircut, she eats yogurt with sadness in her eyes. However, the task is completed, and as a prize she receives a television with a shelf that already has books and a game console. Now her days will be a little more interesting. The Harvest Festival has arrived, but Xena is already tired and all she wants to do is smash all those gnome figurines. Her room has turned into a complete mess. There is trash everywhere. Therefore, with the money she earns from working at home, she buys a trash can and finally cleans everything up. The power goes out and all the equipment breaks down. She decides that she needs to fix everything, especially the speaker from which the tasks are announced. Otherwise, it might get stuck here forever. After she fixed everything, the light did not come on. She started to feel very scared, so she just crawled under the blanket and tried to collect herself. The light never turned on. She sat in the dark, ate, boxed, admired herself in the mirror, dozed off, and read. Her eyes had already adjusted to the darkness, and she could see fairly well. Suddenly, the light turned on.
The last easy task of the week. After this, the level of difficulty increases. Cover yourself in tattoos.
Tattoos are not hair. They will stay with her forever, but Xena is not planning to back down, so she tattoos her entire body. Bald and covered in tattoos, who could be better? At least she gets a proper toilet instead of a bush, which is certainly a relief.
The week of challenges is over. Congratulations. Remove the red carpet.
What? Remove the carpet? Why? What a strange task, she thought, but she did what the voice told her. And under the carpet she saw a staircase leading down. She was scared to go down, but a task is a task. When she went down, she found herself on a small square in the middle of the pool. There was nothing else around. The only thing is the lamp in the shape of an arrow. Most likely she will need to go in that direction. The only question remains, how?
I will ask you 5 questions. If you answer 3 of them correctly, you will move on. Oh no, you will stay here for 24 hours, and with each correct answer, your field will increase by 2 squares. What is the most popular game in the world in 2022? Minecraft, Roblox, PUBG, Sims 4, Xena answered PUBG. Xena thoughtfully answered the cozy, inviting, and welcoming pub of the ever-smiling banks. That's the correct answer. Your field is expanding. What should you do in the game? Among Us, kill the innocent, dig trenches, dance, fight in battles.
Xena chose to fight in battles, and she was determined.
And that is the wrong answer. The correct answer is A, to kill civilians. Who are the Teletubbies? They do not exist. Characters from a children's show, characters from an adult film, a clown.
Xena answered the characters from the children's series.
And that is the correct answer. Your understanding is expanding. Which name of the gum is the odd one out? Hubba Bubba, Booba, Losis, Paradise.
Zena answered Hubba Bubba with a thoughtful expression.
The correct answer is true. When was Sims released? 1995, 2000, 2002, 2007. Zena answered 1995. The correct answer is 2000.
Zena answered as she recalled back in 1995.
The answer was 2000. And you stay here for 24 hours. I will put your refrigerator here.
At the very beginning in the pool, Zena was enveloped by a feeling of complete happiness. She perceived this moment as a wonderful opportunity to dive into the water and enjoy swimming. The whole world seemed beautiful to her as she lay on her back, enjoying the calm, lovely, and peaceful water. Sitting on a ledge and dipping her legs into the cool water, Zena immersed herself in her world of tranquility. These moments brought her indescribable pleasure. And she immersed herself in her thoughts, enjoying every moment. However, as is often the case, the joy did not last forever. Suddenly, just the urge to visit the restroom that overcame her brought some anxiety. She decided to simply do it in her underwear instead of using the pool. As time passed, the desire to sleep overwhelmed Zena, and she struggled to keep herself awake, not allowing herself to doze off. Her willpower helped her to hold on. Despite the grueling and relentless nature of the punishment, she managed to maintain her consciousness throughout the entire 24-hour ordeal. Not once did she succumb to the overwhelming fatigue or intense pain.
Now you can move on.
Somehow, a door appeared in the pool, and Zena didn't think long before entering it. When she found herself on the other side of the door, she saw a room that resembled a prison where a man was lying on a bed. And there was everything needed to satisfy the needs. Since the stranger had fallen asleep and Zena really wanted to take a shower and sleep, she did that first. But when the man woke up, he was making too much noise, which caused Zena to jump up and hit him on the head, after which she fell asleep for a whole day. When Zena gathered her strength, she decided to get to know the man. After all, they would be sitting in the same room together for an unknown amount of time. Although she wasn't in the mood, they managed to communicate through gritted teeth. After that, their days were boring. They slept, chatted, and waited for a new task. As it turned out, this man was also undergoing challenges. There were no tasks from the voice, but Zena's hair had already grown a little. In prison, over time, Zena and her new acquaintance became close friends. A true friendship grew due to the challenging conditions. After all, they were connected by one task. The man in the past, just like Zena, was in an empty room, and now they were both here.
I waited to come near. Only one will survive.
At that moment, strange thoughts suddenly appeared in their minds. Both of them, as if enveloped in a mysterious aura, froze in silence, lost in their own reflections. They did not want to hurt each other, but if they did, they would be stuck here forever. A month had already passed after the voice said that only one would survive. During this time, they understood perfectly what needed to be done next, but they hesitated to take that terrifying step. However, with each passing minute, the atmosphere grew more tense. Due to psychological pressure, they began to argue with each other. Every day was filled with screams, scandals, and fights. Night. Zena cannot sleep. Her thoughts are only about wanting everything to be over as soon as possible. If they continue to do nothing, then nothing will change. Then she decides to commit a terrible crime and throws a bag over the man's head. He did not suffer for long. I will not go into details.
Finally, you can move on. The door is open.
She opens another door and sees a beautiful room in front of her with festive tables. On one of them, there is a lot of different food, and in the corner stands a piano, which adds a romantic atmosphere to the room.
Your festive dinner. Enjoy it before the final trial. You must eat one dish. Just keep in mind that half of them are poisoned. And don't forget to change into festive clothes.
Xena wore a beautiful long red dress. She was very scared. She didn't want to die just a step away from the finish. Sport has always helped her cope with stress. And before she chooses a dish, she decides to unwind and do some push-ups. After that, she faced a difficult choice. She had not eaten anything tasty, fried, or homemade for 91 days. In the last few days, she had dreamed of roasted chicken. That was exactly what she decided to choose. She sits down at a separate, beautiful table. With fear in her eyes but a desire to eat something delicious, she eats the chicken, and nothing happens. She is alive. Happiness overwhelms her with joy. She starts to joyfully dance around. Her happiness knows no bounds, and she even tries to play the piano with excitement.
Congratulations. Go ahead. The door is open. The final task. You have entered the maze, but each door opens once every 3 days. If you go through each door, you will stay there for 3 days, and those 3 days will be fully normal. Porn. Why will it ultimately take away several after freedom and end completely forever?
Xena begins her journey through the maze. The first door, it's simple. She is alone. Surprisingly, she didn't have to choose again. However, the next room presented 2 doors. She really didn't want to make a mistake and stood there for a long time thinking about where to go next. After that, she chose the left door and entered.
On this street, you must knit. The door will open in 3 days.
She didn't understand what to knit, so she decided to make different things. In that room, she felt cold. Her hands were freezing and it was difficult for her to knit, so from time to time she did some crunches to warm up a little. In this room there was a plate with spoiled food. The more days passed, the stronger her desire became to eat that portion. But the smell of spoiled food constantly repelled her from that idea. She was afraid that the food was not only spoiled but also poisoned. Xena continued to knit, dancing and talking to herself during breaks. She had already gotten used to hunger, cold, and the lack of a toilet and bed, as the first days had been just like that. She had developed patience, and thoughts of victory encouraged her. The door opened and Xena could move on. Again, there was a choice between 2 doors. This time, Xena chose the right door, after which there was another choice to make.
You haven't eaten for 3 days. Hang in there.
It was a very small room, in which there was nothing at all, and the floor was too cold to sit or sleep on. All she could do was stand. She stood for 3 days. To avoid freezing completely, she danced and slowly began to lose her mind in the small, closed space. But the thirst for victory kept her from giving up, and she lasted another 3 days. The door opened, and ahead was a choice of 3 doors. Xena had no logical choice, so she simply entered the far left door.
The release door must be hacked by fireworks, as the open computer will do so in 3 days when the door opens.
It was very cold in these mazes, and before sitting down at the computer she did push-ups. Then she sat down and began to study programming, as she did not have this skill, which was very necessary for her to be able to hack anything. 2 days passed, and she was already seeing different numbers in her eyes. She was very tired and nothing was going well for her. There wasn't much time left to complete the task. But in the end, she succeeded, and the door opens again, leaving her standing before a difficult choice. Either she will open the wrong door and remain rotting until the end of her days, or she will open the right one and find herself free with money. When Xena opened another door, she saw a staircase leading up. She was very excited and ran to climb it, just a little. When she found freedom, it was winter and snow was falling. She breathed in the fresh air and felt a sense of lightness inside. But right next to the exit, she noticed a box. Upon opening it, she discovered her prize, $100,000. In her excitement, she simply collapsed onto the snow and began making a snow angel. At that moment, she felt free for the first time in many months. With her winnings, she wanted to buy a modest cottage by the sea, where everything necessary for a full life was available. But above all, she wanted to update her wardrobe, as she had been in these clothes for a whole 100 days. In her soul, there remained an imprint of what had happened to her recently. She could not rid herself of this burden and found a peculiar escape in forbidden substances, which restored her energy and lifted her spirits. She decided to add bright colors to her life and started growing plants for pleasure. But the main thing she had been missing for a long time was communication with people. Therefore, she decided to visit a bar where she started drinking cocktails. In this establishment, she found a companion who shared her interests. His energy was contagious and the fun knew no bounds. But even in such a cheerful state, she did not forget about her work, which she continued to do from home. Under the influence of the new doping, she set out to do her work, but the substance affected her perception, and as if losing all sense, she began to march straight into the ocean. Returning home, she took care and attention of her plants. She was absolutely filled with such uncontrollable energy and excitement that she even decided to buy a jet ski, which she rode near her house, immersing herself in moments of absolute true bliss. In those moments, she felt truly good. She enjoyed the rest and the restoration of both her soul and body. After that, she invited her friend, whom she met at the bar. Together, they charged themselves with positive energy, then played video games, swam, and simply enjoyed life. In the conversation, the guy mentioned his family is going through tough times and they are being evicted from their home. He asked her for temporary housing. She agreed as she liked the idea. It seemed to her that it would be more fun. At first, she got to know the guy's mother, creating a warm and atmospheric relationship. But at some point, a fight broke out on the street. To ease the tense atmosphere, the whole group decided to relieve their stress. Afterwards, they played video games together. But Zina craved more excitement. She wanted more diverse social interactions, so she once again went to a bar. While waiting for her cocktail, she recharged right at the bar counter, after which she drank and went to sing karaoke with some lady. Upon arriving home, she bought a hookah to smoke with her guests. By the way, she also received a promotion at work and became a junior sergeant. Her new friends no longer even asked for permission to use her drugs and did so whenever they wanted, often. One time her friends left their small child with her while they went out somewhere. Having a child in her arms didn't even interfere with her next dose. Her home had turned into some kind of den, with a lot of people and plenty of fights. Once they even started a fire, but because Zina always had an unclean mind, she was fine with it all. She enjoyed life. By the way, her plants had already grown and turned into full-fledged bushes. Due to this lifestyle, her character traits changed. She became a club enthusiast, a dealer, and very much at home in that environment. One day, an attractive man appeared in her house, with whom she became very close friends. By the way, they share the same interest. With this man, she felt like a girl. He chatted with her very sweetly and gave her compliments. She felt so comfortable with him that it seemed like they had known each other forever. She used drugs with him and engaged in self-care. But this man seemed to have a slightly lesser addiction than Zina herself, and the more time he spent with her, the more he talked to her about how it was time to end such a life. What needs to be done is to drive away these incomprehensible people who take advantage of her, live off her, and use her. Zina seemed to understand that it was time to put an end to all of this, but her addiction was already very strong. She couldn't even work without using. With each passing time, it was never enough for her. She needed more. She began to use much more frequently. Her friend tried to talk her out of this mess, but she couldn't stop and did it while no one was watching in the bathroom. One time it all crossed the line. Perhaps one of the neighbors even called the police on them, and Zina found herself behind bars. But this is not surprising, as she had a lot of drugs, and on top of that, she was also growing them. Plus, she would share them with her friends. Now there are two possible outcomes. Either she will die from withdrawal, or she will overcome her addiction. But one fine day, Zina received a letter from a stranger that said, "I will pull you out if you play along with me."
He was